This is my first panel that I have been invited to, my first session that I have been to since the violence broke out on last week. I have refused to come to the site. I have refused to be a part of the clergy that have sat in rooms, the mayor's press conferences, and all of these things, because we should be talked out by now. Yeah. We have been talking for far too long. We have talked past our 400 years of slavery. We have talked past that period of 200 years of putting in place what the young man characterized as a system that is not broken, but it is working as it was designed. It is time for us to face a truth about ourselves as African Americans living in freedom at this point in time that our forefathers and mothers brought us to and through. It is time for us to stop allowing ourselves to be specimens under a microscope, constantly being asked one question or another when we already understand that violence is a healthcare issue that should have been being mitigated long before last Monday, and it did not happen. Violence is a healthcare issue that has not been mitigated because of the fact that the social determinants of health, a word that we use in these illustrious rooms, but means nothing on the street because they don't know that you're using them and saying about us that the social determinants of health, that you're a victim of the social determinants of health, because they don't understand it, and nor have we made opportunity to make certain that they understand those three words on the street of economic depression and all of these things, a lack of education. I disagree friendly and respectfully to the congressman that education is no different on the streets than it is in here. Everybody's educated, everybody is intelligent, it is all relative. And we need to begin to respect others on the street so that they will also respect you when you come out there to work with them. And until we do that and give respect to all and understand that every man and woman, whether they come into a higher level of education or not, they are aware of what is around them, what their needs are, and they are looking for us to respond. And so I wrote down quite a few things because the community has been taking care of itself and its own for quite some time. But the community also has been turning itself on itself for quite some time. We cannot place all of the blame on one structure, on the police department, when in fact a young man that was in as a barber just a week ago or sometime this week got shot in his head 4 times, not by a police officer, but by one of his own. That's right. We must honestly face up to what is going on in our community. We have trauma that has never been dealt with. And I always bring up Beloved because Toni Morrison wrote and had an amazing movie out called Beloved that we have refused to watch because we say it was too dark. But what is dark is that we don't want to look at ourselves and see the pain that we have been holding on to for far too long. And we need someone to come in and help us to help ourselves and our children. There's no mental health in our schools that actually does from pre-kindergarten all the way through high school to be able to do an assessment and get our children the assistance that they need. But you cannot just help the child, you must help the parents and the homes from which they are coming from. When we want to put funds out and monies out, we don't want to do anything with the adults. We want to put money into children. Children cannot rule their parents. The parents are ruling them. And then we have leaders. Our community since 1968 looks the same as it did then when the riots broke out as it does today because money came to leaders that look like me, that look like him, and it got passed through. Is that not right, Leon? That's right. Leon Purnell is sitting there, and as that money got passed down, The money that was meant to build and rebuild our lives did not come to us, but those same leaders might be holding some titles today and riding around in their Bentleys and riding around in their Mercedes and all of the rest. I'm going to tell you a truth. That's right. We want somebody to come and rescue us. Somebody did come by to rescue us, but the somebodies of us didn't take enough respect and honor for us. What do I need Johns Hopkins to do today? I need Johns Hopkins to know that they hold a seat on the right hand of God in this city, in this state, in this nation. They have more power than the mayor has. They have more power than the governor has. I need for their trustees to come down out of the dome. I need the dome to lift its skirt and actually call the power players to the table. I need that. We need that. We need that. We need that because I don't need you just to give us some money. Because you're already saying that, well, we tried this and it didn't work. It didn't work because there was no policy in place to encourage owners of businesses to actually do a baseline assessment of a baseline mental health assessment, so that I would know that I need to not only provide my employee with 8 hours of work, but get them a coach to work alongside their mental health issues. That I needed also to be able, in my grants that I write, to write in there that I need a coach to come in and provide some job etiquette for the people that I am hiring from community because they are not job ready, but I want them in my space because I believe that they have the power to get the goals and objectives accomplished because they know the community. Isn't that right, David? They know the community. It's time to stop talking. We got the solutions. We need to take the research out of the halls and put it into translational images that can actually function in community. We need no more persons to ask me, so how many times have you been? How many this? How many that? So that you can get your name on a piece of paper and you get paid, but we get nothing. We need to understand that there are traumatized people in Baltimore City's illustrious different departments that will say no to him and yes to you. And they look like me. We need to understand that my son's senior center didn't burn down because the looters burnt it down. That was a crime of opportunity, of a community of jealousy, a community that wanted to say, I'm going to show you, or ask, where is your God? If you think I'm lying, go and examine the site, and you will know that the children would not have taken that much time to burn down a bus and to burn all of the perimeter, and didn't care if they burned down the homes that were on the other side that were occupied by senior citizens. It is time for us to stop playing these games. It's time to really roll up our sleeves. As Selwyn said, I didn't think you were here. You look like Angela Davis today. Well, I don't, intentionally, it's a bad hair day, been a bad hair week. And Leon says I got miracle grease. And so therefore, you know, I'm just here to tell you the truth. I'm here because Mike Clegg is in the house. I'm here because Mike Clegg is in the house. David Hopegrave is in the house. Josh Sharfstein was here. I got Amy Gawad sitting in for Bob Blum. And I believe that every word that we are saying in this room, every syllable, is going to go back and reach the Board of Trustees. It's going to get to Ron Daniels. There is no such thing that when you come in our communities that you won't be respected and that you won't be protected. That's right. But when I come in, hey, I might get kicked to the curb. There might be some clergy that has some hard words for me, but I got something for them too. Because the same God created all of us. We're all sons and daughters. We're all sisters and brothers. Some of us got and some of us don't. And some of us that have need to begin to come alongside those that don't, that are out in the community doing the work. We got work to do. We have some healing to do. I need Hopkins to assemble all of those leaders and to begin a strategic planning process that is not going to be an overnight sensation, but begin to really look at the educational system that was stripped of our monitors that we used to have on the street called truant officers, that made certain that if you were a child between 5 and 18, you had to show proof if you were not with your parent while you were on the street, and Miss White took you by your ear and took you back to the classroom. I need for the guidance counselors to be put back into the schools. Not one guidance counselor for every 3 or 4 schools, but in every school individually needs guidance counselors. I need for the nursing staff to be put back in the individual schools. Those are the things that I need you to begin to have discussion about. I need for you to make certain that if parents are missing from the PTAs or whatever they call them today, the Parent Teacher Association, and don't have the information on how am I going to make sure Johnny is fit for school and ready the first quarter of school. I need you to make certain that there is some places that are going to give parenting education to make sure that they know how to parent. I need housing that is adequately available and is not rat infested, that is not wireless, that is wired correctly. I need then for people to make certain that the rent is at a level that people can afford to live in them. I shouldn't have to cross over Fayette Street on Milton Avenue to begin to see a difference in the housing that is across Fayette Street than the housing that is down by Milton and Biddle. There is something wrong there. And I can't afford to live across Fayette Street because the rent is too high. But down here, the rent is just as high, but I'm in a building that is dilapidated. That's right. That is a sad state of affairs. I need for us to be able to make certain that all of our men and women, our daughters and our sons are getting adequate health care. I need for us to make certain that Johns Hopkins lifts the dome skirt and does something different. Johns Hopkins has been in a transformative state and building a marvelous bridge between community and the institution for some time now. But I have to say, I pray that Johns Hopkins himself has raised up out of the grave and saying, Debbie, talk. Because this is in his last will and testament, that we make certain that we take care of the children, that we make certain that we are doing those things that will make sure that communities are tight-knit together. My $1,000 word now, it used to be a dollar word, but it is time for us to interdigitate regardless of the color line and regardless of the red lines that still exist in our communities. Thank you very much.
Please.